Most people have tried to budget at some point. They downloaded an app, made a spreadsheet, wrote numbers on a napkin, or just mentally promised themselves they'd spend less this month. And most people quit within a few weeks. Not because they're bad with money, because the way budgeting is usually taught is designed for robots, not humans. Traditional budgeting asks you to predict the future. How much will you spend on groceries in October? How much on gas, on entertainment, on miscellaneous? You're supposed to assign every dollar a category before the month starts, and then somehow stick to those predictions for 30 days, while real life throws surprises at you constantly. A friend's birthday you forgot about, a car repair you didn't expect, a grocery bill that came in higher because eggs decided to cost twice as much this week. People don't fail at budgeting because they lack discipline. They fail because the system they're using doesn't account for the fact that life is chaotic and humans are emotional. Every budgeting method that actually works long-term has one thing in common. It's built for how people actually behave, not how spreadsheets wish they would. If you're the person who never gets it until someone gives you the right analogy, this channel is for you. Subscribe. Let me start with what a budget actually is, stripped of all the guilt and complexity. A budget is a plan for how to split your income between present you and future you. That's it. Every dollar you earn is being divided between two versions of yourself. Present you wants comfort, experiences, food, entertainment, convenience. Future you wants security, freedom, retirement, an emergency cushion, and the ability to handle surprises without panic. Think of your income like a river flowing toward you. Without a budget, the river just floods everywhere. It spreads across the landscape with no direction. Some water reaches useful places. A lot of it evaporates or pools in puddles that do nothing. You look at your bank account at the end of the month and have no idea where it all went, because it went everywhere and nowhere at the same time. A budget is building channels for that river. You decide in advance where the water should flow. This much to rent, this much to food, this much to savings, this much to fun. The river is the same size regardless. You're just directing it instead of letting it flood. The people who are good with money don't necessarily earn more. They just have better channels built. And the people who feel broke despite a decent income usually have a river with no channels, so the water disappears into the ground every month. Now let me walk through the approaches that actually work, because there's more than one way to build channels and different brains need different systems. The first and simplest is what I'd call the bucket method. You take your income and divide it into 3 buckets: needs, wants, and future. A common split is 50% needs, 30% wants, 20% future, but the exact numbers matter less than having the buckets at all. Think of it like packing for a trip with 3 bags. One bag is for essentials, stuff you literally cannot travel without. Passport, medication, underwear. That's your needs bucket. Rent, utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments, non-negotiable. The second bag is for things that make the trip enjoyable. A good book, nice headphones, comfortable shoes. That's your wants bucket. Restaurants, subscriptions, hobbies, new clothes, that coffee you don't need but genuinely enjoy. The third bag is your emergency kit and future supplies. First aid, backup phone charger, extra cash hidden in a Ziploc. That's savings, investments, extra debt payments, emergency fund contributions. The stuff that doesn't feel exciting now, but saves you when something goes wrong or buys you freedom later. The beauty of the bucket system is that it doesn't micromanage. You don't have to know whether you'll spend $47 or $63 on coffee this month. You just know your wants bucket has a limit, and as long as you're inside it, every purchase is guilt-free. The guilt disappears because the spending was planned. Most budgeting anxiety doesn't come from spending money, it comes from not knowing if the spending was okay. The buckets answer that question in advance. The second approach is what some people call the pay yourself first method, and it flips the whole script. Instead of budgeting what you'll spend and saving what's left over, you save first and spend what's left over. The order matters more than most people realize. Think of it like filling glasses of water at a dinner table. Traditional budgeting fills the biggest glasses first: rent, bills, groceries, entertainment, and hopes there's something left in the pitcher for the savings glass at the end. There usually isn't, because the other glasses always seem to need just a little more. Pay yourself first puts the savings glass at the front of the line. The pitcher fills that one before anything else. Whatever's left in the pitcher gets distributed to the other glasses. You might have to pour a little less entertainment this month. The restaurant glass might not get filled as high, but the savings glass is always full because it was first in line. The mechanical way to do this is automatic transfers. The day your paycheck hits, an automatic transfer moves a fixed amount to savings or investments before you touch it. You never see the money in your spending account. You can't miss what you never had. Your brain adjusts to the lower available balance within about 2 months, and from that point forward, saving is effortless because it's invisible. Quick favor before the next part, because this next section covers the 2 things that destroy most budgets, and understanding them is probably worth more than the budget itself. If this has been useful, hit the like button. It makes a real difference for a channel this size. Back to it. The 2 things that kill budgets aren't big expenses. They're leaks and spikes. Leaks are the small recurring expenses that feel insignificant individually, but bleed you dry collectively. Subscriptions you forgot about, daily coffee runs, convenience fees, delivery charges, impulse buys under $20 that you never think twice about. Think of leaks like leaving the tap dripping in your house. 1 drip per second doesn't look like much. Over a month, it wastes hundreds of gallons. Over a year, it shows up on the water bill in a way that would shock you if you'd been tracking it. A $5 daily coffee is $150 a month, $1,800 a year. That's a vacation, not from one big purchase, from a drip. I'm not saying don't buy coffee. I'm saying know that you're buying it. The drip only hurts when you don't know the tap is running. If you look at the $1,800 a year and say, yes, that's worth it to me, then it's a want you've consciously chosen and it belongs in the wants bucket. If you look at it and think, wait, I'd rather have the vacation, then you found a leak worth plugging. Either answer is fine. The damage happens only when you never ask the question. Spikes are the irregular expenses that wreck a monthly budget because they don't happen monthly. Car registration, holiday gifts, a wedding you have to travel to, dental work, the annual insurance premium. These aren't emergencies. They're completely predictable events that people treat as emergencies because they didn't plan for them. Think of spikes like waves at the beach. If you're standing in shallow water, staring at the horizon, a wave you didn't see coming knocks you over. But if you're watching the water, you see the wave building and brace for it. The wave is the same size either way. The difference is whether you were prepared. The fix for spikes is stupidly simple. Add up all your irregular expenses from last year, divide by 12, and put that amount into a separate holding account every month. When the car registration comes due in September, the money is already sitting there waiting. It's not a crisis, it's not a surprise. It's a wave you saw coming because you were watching. Let me talk about one last thing that nobody wants to hear but everyone needs to. No budget survives contact with emotions. You will overspend sometimes. You'll have a bad day and order takeout 3 nights in a row. You'll impulse buy something you don't need because the dopamine felt good in the moment. You'll go over budget on a vacation because the experience felt worth it at the time. Think of a budget like a diet. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never cheat. They're the ones who cheat, acknowledge it, and get back on track the next day without spiraling. One bad meal doesn't undo a month of healthy eating. One bad week of spending doesn't undo a year of good budgeting. The budget that works is the one you come back to after breaking it, not the one that's theoretically perfect but gets abandoned the first time reality intervenes. Let me stack all of this together so it locks in. A budget is building channels for the river of your income, so it flows where you decide instead of flooding everywhere. The bucket method splits money into needs, wants, and future, like packing 3 bags for a trip. Pay yourself first puts the savings glass at the front of the line so it's always full. Leaks are dripping taps that waste thousands a year on expenses you never consciously chose. Spikes are predictable waves you can brace for by saving 1/12 of your annual irregular costs every month. And the best budget isn't the perfect one. It's the imperfect one you return to after every stumble. That's budgeting, not punishment, not restriction. Just a system for making sure the money you earn actually goes where you'd choose to send it if you were paying attention. If this helped budgeting click for you, do me 2 quick favors. Hit the like button and subscribe so you catch the next one. I'm deciding between two topics for the next video, and I want you to pick. Should I explain how credit scores work using a reputation system analogy, or how debt spirals using a quicksand analogy? Drop A or B in the comments, and whichever gets more votes, I'll make first. Thanks for watching.